What's going on, guys? Venomousfatman here. I got a brand new segment of The Verdict for you. This time, I've already in the past talked about this IP as far as the new movie that had just come out, but now I'm going to talk about the original TV series. In case you guys haven't seen from the title yet, it's The Green Hornet. So, you guys know I did a verdict last year about The Green Hornet, or at least, no, not last year, this year, about The Green Hornet when I saw the movie, when it first came out at midnight release. And I loved it. I've always been a fan of The Green Hornet, because I grew up watching the TV series. So, when I actually saw this movie, and it kind of rekindled my love for the actual, hero. So what's the whole thing about this actual TV show? Okay, number one, it's awesome for first reason being is because it had Bruce Lee on it as Kato. Okay, the actual two main people from that actual TV show from the 1960s was Van Williams as Britt Reed or slash the Green Hornet, and also Bruce Lee as Kato, which is pretty much the Green Hornet's sidekick. But anyway, overall, here's the thing about the Green Hornet, because there was only 26 episodes actually made of this TV series, and it was around the same time that the original Batman had came out with Adam West. So, it was done by the same people, the same production company that actually made Batman. So there was some crossover here and there. But there was only 26 episodes made, besides everything else, because due to the popularity of Batman. The thing about the Green Hornet is that the Green Hornet, as far as the way it was filmed, as far as the way the stories were played out, and as far as the way the characters were and things were set up, was much more darker and grittier than how Batman was. Pretty much the Green Hornet was exactly like how if they had taken the much more darker route with actually how Batman was originally conceptualized to be, Bob Kane's original idea for the character of Batman. But the Green Hornet is exactly what Batman would have been if the Adam West Batman of the 1960s was darker and grittier and much more, not terrifying, but much more sinister and kind of darker tones. I'm pretty sure that it had the Green Hornet in the way that it was actually publicized on TV and stuff. Had it come out in a time like this, it would have done amazing. It would have been, because a lot now these days, people love the darker, edgier, grittier superheroes, especially in the wake of The Dark Knight Returns. Or not The Dark Knight Returns, but Batman Begins and The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. That kind of started that whole trend. But even in the 1990s, you could see a lot more of the superheroes starting to go more darker and stuff. You could even go back maybe as far as the 80s, and right about there is where it kind of stops, with Tim Burton's Batman of 1989. But from that point on, a lot of the superhero stories, or a lot of the hero stories, both on TV, the movies, and also in comic books, were a lot darker. So had the Green Hornet actually, in the way that it was publicized on TV back then, come out in a time like now, it would be vastly far more successful. Especially, you could even see with the new re-release of the movie with Seth Rogen and Jay Chow, that it's a much more grittier, it's much more edgier, much more oriented towards real life, and not as kind of, ideal or not as colorful as, even though the main color is green, and not as colorful in personality as something like how the Adam West Batman was. So in turn, to sum it all up in a nutshell, the Green Hornet, with Bruce Lee and Van Williams, was ahead of its time. It wasn't back then. A lot of people loved the more colorful superheroes like Superman, how he was, in all his movies and all the TV shows that Superman has been, idealized or pictured. But same thing with Batman, because a lot of people give Adam West a lot of flack for Batman, but you got to keep in mind, this was a different time than the time that we know now. Things were much more lighter. Things were much more, American idealized back then. So you had the kind of, the typical, American values, American family type of look to them, where, two parents and two kids, things like that, the old man and his wife in the pitchfork type of thing. Point being is, it's a lot more colorful, it's a lot more lighthearted. So the Green Hornet, that's why one of the reasons why Batman did so much more better on TV than the Green Hornet did. He is as awesome as the Green Hornet was, because I'm telling you, I grew up watching the reruns of this show, and I absolutely loved it. I love Batman and Robin too, but don't get me wrong, I do not shy away from my love from the Green Hornet, because it was so awesome just seeing Bruce Lee play Kato, being the crap out of different, bad guys and stuff. And the fact that, that's another important thing, as far as going back to the darker tone aspect of it, is that the Green Hornet, in it originally, even all the way back into the actual radio shows from, I believe it's the 1940s, I want to say, maybe 1950s, give or take, I could be wrong, but they were posing as villains. They were working in the kind of shady realm in order to catch these bad guys. Even though they look shady, their real intentions were still just and true towards, protecting civilians, protecting the innocent and stuff. So even with that, main point, even knowing that factors that, they're coming off as bad guys, but they're really good and stuff, people still liked their idealized superheroes. That superheroes were always good from the get-go. Like, no matter what, it was grandma's apple pie straight from the gate. That he was good, he was never bad. That's it. It's done and over with. So people back then didn't really accept him, didn't really understand that, as well as some, groups and generations of people now do, where we could kind of see like, oh, we could actually explore this a little bit more. What if a superhero kind of worked shady, but he was actually still good though, but he was kind of working in this shady kind of realm, working with these shady deals and things like that, where he would pose as like a mob boss or something, in order to catch the real bad guys and catch the other mob bosses, that type of whole deal. But still, like I said, Green Hornet itself, the TV show of the 1960s, was way ahead of its time. It's a shame that they only made 26 episodes because, looking back at it now, if you ever seen the reruns on Sci-Fi where they have the marathon and stuff, looking back at it now, you could see that it would have, the essence of what was there, the way they filmed it, the way they set up the story and everything, would have been amazing thus far here in this day and age. Anything, I would love to see a much more besides the movie with Seth Rogen, a much more contemporary, revitalization of the Green Hornet on TV. And, if they could get the right actors and stuff, nobody's going to compare to Bruce Lee, but, if you're going to do a reinterpretation, pick the right actors for the right part and stuff. And put them in the right stories and set up the right scenarios. And I think something like the Green Hornet could be amazing on TV. It would be awesome. So that's just my opinion, guys. I know it was a lot to swallow, a little bit redundant, but it's there for you guys. Leave your comments and video responses. I don't mind. Just keep it civil. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. If you're a fan of the new Green Hornet revitalization, the movie, or if you're really still a big fan of the old 1960s Green Hornet, put it on there. Let me know, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Venomous is out. This has been The Verdict. Enjoy your day, people.